Play clock at 5. Pass is intercepted at the goal line by Malcolm Butler.
The jump, yes, he did. He gives it to Henry.
Quick snap. Breeze. Pass is incomplete. No flag.
4th and goal. And they're going to snap it, and it's Trey Burton who throws caught. Touchdown.
If you told me before the season that heading into week 5, the New York Giants and the New York Jets would have actually won the football game, and Sam Darnold would be leading the league in rushing touchdowns, I don't think I believe you. I don't think I believe you. I also wouldn't believe you if you told me that this quarterback, which we'll get into here in a moment, I wouldn't believe you if you told me that this quarterback outperformed this other quarterback in what very well could be one of the biggest games of the entire season. We got a little bit to talk about today, ladies and gentlemen. Of course, I'm your host, Ross Allen, and I'm here to break down everything you need to know about week 4 of the NFL season already. Can't say we're a quarter of the way in yet, because we got 17 games now instead of the 16. That's extra game of excitement there, so that's all fun, but man, the season already feels like it's going by quick, but oh boy, the excitement is not slowing down one bit, because not only, of course, I'm going to tell you about the last undefeated team in the league and whether they're Super Bowl contenders or not, and possibly if they're the best team in the league right now. The Raiders might have been found out in, shout out to Sean Payton for some of the worst play calling I've seen since, I don't know. I mean, I probably wouldn't put up there with the Falcons play calling in Super Bowl 51 in the second half, but it wasn't great, and that ultimately led to their demise here. Like I was saying, do we have a new most overrated team in the league this year? Or at least going to this week? Has anyone topped the Bucks? I don't know. We'll talk about that. Also, how good are the Buffalo Bills? Vic Fangio had an interesting take on the sideline and reaction on the sideline to some of the actions late in their game against the Ravens. I'll tell you, give you my thoughts about that one, especially coming from the perspective of a Broncos fan as well. Of course, Week 5 predictions and Week 5 power rankings. And oh boy, we got a very special guest for the Nene of the Week. And it's a guy that I feel like it's taking a while for him to get back on here. So it's going to be a good time. You're going to want to wait till the end to listen to that. But we got all this and more coming at you. Of course, for all your Fourth and Long content, you can go check out everything at thefourthandlong.com or everything Fourth and Long in NFL. We have thefourthandlong.com/NFL. Now, NFL isn't the only football league we cover. For anyone that maybe needs an extra football fix and you haven't seen it yet, you got to check out some Australian football. So, of course, a little AFL action there. Of course, you can find all that crazy stuff at thefourthandlong.com/AFL. Got a lot of stuff coming to you. Go check our recent interviews that have come out with local fighters. A couple local MMA guys, Jared Melton, Raymond Lawley. They have a fight coming up here in a couple weeks, and it's going to be a damn good time. But, ladies and gentlemen, let's get into things. Of course, how we like to start things off, a little bit of power positivity. We're going to talk about the winners first in this episode. And of course, one of the biggest winners is going to be the Arizona Cardinals, because they're the last undefeated team, and they look damn good in doing it because they beat the former. At least last week, I told you that they were the best team in the league and that this was going to be a huge proof game for either team. And the Cardinals were the ones that proved themselves the most. They beat the Rams in LA by 17. That was one hell of a game, one hell of a performance. Kyler Murray is definitely on the path to winning a MVP this year. And it's almost, at this point in the season, it is his award to lose. So that's going to be fun to follow. That defense still looks great. But even defeat, Matt Stafford in the offense, they still look pretty respectable there. But it's their defense. I mean, everyone thought, hey, this is a really good defense. This is why they might win the Super Bowl this year. Kind of failed them. And we're going to have to, are the Cardinals really just the best offense in the league right now? We'll talk about a little bit more about the Cardinals later in the show. Just stick around for that one. The next winner, of course, it has to be the New York Jets and the New York Giants. I mean, technically, these New York teams get the first win, although another New York team has already won this year, the Buffalo Bills. Technically, these teams are in New Jersey, if you want to be specific about that. So, I mean, take that as you will. But the Giants, they were able to beat the Saints in overtime, and the Jets were able to beat the Titans in overtime. It had to be one hell of a week for those New York fans. And I know one of the guys I met in the Broncos game I went to Broncos and Jets a couple weeks ago now, and got sitting next to the Jets fan. He was not very optimistic. I couldn't blame him. He said he was going to be at the game this Sunday too, and so hats off to that man. He got to see a dub, and nice guy, and he deserved to see a win like that. So happy for the random stranger I met at a football game. And here we go. Here's the first main talking point I want to go over with this episode is Mac Jones. Mac Jones is one of the biggest winners of this week. Not only because, I mean, let's set the scene here, okay? Let's set the scene. First off, there's a lot of the people talking about, I mean, I wasn't really expecting to hear this, but a lot of people talking about, Bucks at New England. Okay, Tom Brady's return to Foxborough. This is the biggest game, most important game in NFL history, in regular season history. Biggest game of the 2021 season. First off, that was stupid going into that. I didn't agree with that take at all, and I made that point clear over on Twitter, which of course you can follow us at Fourth Long Radio. It was a dumb narrative. Just because the greatest quarterback of all time is going back to his home doesn't make it the biggest game of all time. There wasn't, if you really look at it, there wasn't a whole lot of importance on this game. Yeah, it would have been great if Bill Belichick could have proved himself and beat his old quarterback. Yeah, it would have been great. I mean, Tom Brady goes out. He shows he doesn't need Bill Belichick. He goes out and win the game. Okay, there was no playoff implications on the line. There's no Super Bowl implications on the line. There's not really implications. I mean, there is implications towards the future, but nothing really crazy right now. My favorite storyline, though, was Tom Brady going up, matching up against essentially his replacement in Mac Jones. That was what I was more focused on. I didn't care about the whole Brady and Belichick drama. I thought this game was overhyped, and it ultimately really didn't live up to expectations. It wasn't that great of a game, unless you like defense, and unless you like no rushing game, especially with the Patriots, I think the first team since the 2007 Lions to rush for negative yards in the game. They finished with -1 on the day. But here, I'll get to my point. My point is that Mac Jones is not being talked about. His performance in this game is not being talked about nearly is enough as it should be, because Mac Jones, up to this point, easily the biggest game of his career. He's playing primetime against Tom Brady in this giant atmosphere where tickets are $700-800 at the cheapest. And he outperforms the greatest quarterback, arguably, to play the game. He outperforms Tom Brady. He outpoises Tom Brady at times as well. Brady looked a little bit shook in this game. He looked a little bit mad, especially at times, especially when the fans, which I do respect, those Patriot fans, chanting his name, cheering for him, and then as soon as they come on, as soon as the Bucs offense and Tom Brady comes on for the first drive of the game, they go out and boo him. That was good. I respect that. But Mac Jones has a career game. He has an interception there. He has a mistake in there. But don't let that take away from how good he looked, because, I mean, he finished just stat-wise, almost 80% completion percentage here, 275 yards, 2 touchdowns, of course, the aforementioned interception. He played at one point in this game 19 straight passes. 19. And the Bucs We're bringing the pressure. I mean, how else are the Bucs going to win football games? It's going to be with their defense. It's going to be with bringing the house. It's going to be with rushing the quarterback, getting sacks, getting pressures, getting the ball out. The quarterback's hands trying to force it out, especially with that depleted secondary that won't really be able to cover, 3-4 seconds into a play. They're just not that good enough right now. I mean, also show with Richard Sherman, solid, decent game, coming back. But I loved how poised Mac Jones looked under pressure. He knew he was going to take hits. He still got the ball out. He still completed passes. He still made accurate throws. He still made good reads. He still took his time to go from the first to second to third read, even though he was under pressure. I mean, that Patriots O-line wasn't too bad that game, but he looked poised in big stage, the brightest lights shining on him in not the best of weather games. He looked good. Tom Brady, on the other hand, he completed about half his passes. Didn't throw for touchdowns. I mean, luckily didn't throw for interceptions. Threw for about 270 yards on the game. And, I mean, they kind of got lucky to come away with the win here. I wish Bill Belichick should have gone for it. It was a horrible decision to kick the field goal there. No. Would I question it? Of course I did. Mac Jones, in his performance, point being, overarching point here, Mac Jones needs to be talked about more. Mac Jones, especially from this game, was overhyped or overlooked, overshadowed. And I feel like, especially for how much hype was around this game, as soon as it's over, I feel like everyone's moved on. I haven't really seen that many people talking about this game. If you're going to talk about anything from Sunday, or if you're going to talk a lot of the things you're going to talk about, you need to mention Mac Jones. You need to mention how good he looked in this game, especially compared to the GOAT. Especially compared to him. Mac Jones, Rookie of the Week, hands down, and one of the best performances in games of the week, quite frankly. Now, of course, would love to hear your guys' opinion on that. I know my guy over on Twitter, Andrew, is going to be happy that I had that little bit of a rant. He's a big Mac Jones guy. Of course, we'll see how it pans out in the future. I have that tweet saved, by the way. And so we're going to see how things turn out in a few years here. Moving on to the losers, though, let's start things off with the team that is no longer undefeated and lost on Monday night, and that's the Las Vegas Raiders. And it's not, I'm not calling the biggest losers because they looked awful. Looked like one of the worst teams of Week 4. They didn't. They had their moments, especially during the third quarter. The problem is, though, the Raiders might have been found out because Derek Carr has been a MVP candidate quarterback through the first 3 weeks of the season. He's averaging about, 402 yards a game, 406 yards, over 400 yards a game passing. He's looking good with the touchdowns. He's limited the mistakes, limited the interceptions, and he's won the Raiders football games. Of course, most important thing there, he has won them football games. They wouldn't have won. They'd probably be 0-3 going into this week if it wasn't for Derek Carr. But now, I haven't seen the pass rush like this year. They haven't. The Chargers front seven is legit. They are really good. Watching this game, all I saw was them get to Derek Carr. All I saw was them put pressure on him. All I saw was their 7 quarterback hits, their 4 sacks, them totally disrupting Derek Carr's game. They looked like a force. And by the way, the Chargers are a damn good football team right now. And I hope, obviously, since being a Broncos fan, my bias will go to say that I hope that them choking away so the Broncos go win the division here, go to the playoffs, win the Super Bowl, all that fun stuff. Even though no matter how unlikely that scenario is, I really do think that this is finally the year the Chargers go from pretenders to contenders. It's because of this defense. Also because Justin Herbert looks fan-freaking-tastic. He looks really good so far, setting rookie records and being up with names like Patrick Mahomes, and that's always good conversation to be in. But like I said, Derek Carr sacked 4 times in this, hit 7 times, pressured a lot. He threw an interception, and he threw for less than half of his average yards per game up to this point. He only finished with 196. It wasn't a great game. They didn't have the ball too much anyway because the Chargers were able to, their first, I think they raised like first 4 or 5 drives, and then with like less than 10 yards on the drive and punts or something like that. It was bad. It was poor. But this is the way you beat the Raiders. Derek Carr was looking great. I mean, it could be Neeson. Yeah, Ross, great analysis. If you get sacked, the quarterback's going to look bad, of course. But it's all about hurrying him. I don't trust John Gruden. I don't trust that Raiders offensive line. They're not good. They're not good. And the only problem is that the Raiders defense, on the other hand, as well. Oh, sorry, I have a fly. Man, if you guys were only there for my AFL one. In fact, recording last night for that, or at least recording on Monday night for the AFL episode, which of course dropped on Tuesday. I got 2 flies. Got 2 flies over the span of about 45 minutes there, about an hour there. So I felt great. Little Mr. Miyagi, no chopstick bite. Use my fingers. I don't know if that counts. But getting back to it, the Raiders secondary was torched. It was a really good secondary up to this point. So if I'm John Gruden, if I'm Derek Carr, if I'm the Raiders, I'm a little worried because you go against teams like the Chargers, you have to play them one more time this year. The Broncos are another team with a really solid pass rush. You have to play them twice this year. The Chiefs, you can forget about their defense because that's not what they do in Kansas City. But the Raiders have plenty of other teams on their schedule that can bring the pass rush, and they are going to have to be a little bit worried there. I mean, the Cowboys could bring it. The Washington football team could bring it. The Browns late in the season are definitely going to bring it. So the Raiders have to find out a way to shore that offensive line, maybe change the play calling around. John Gruden has 50,000 plays. I'm sure he has 1,000 there at least that don't require offensive line because that's just something they're not playing with there. And going from that, let's go to Sean Payton and the Saints losing to the Giants because Sean Payton and his atrocious play calling led to the Saints to lose this game. The Saints should have won this game, hands down. I mean, come on. Can't argue against that. The Saints should have won this football game. But one thing that was very damning is that about 6 minutes, 11 seconds in the third quarter, Taysom Hill threw for an interception. And since that point, it took until, I believe, about 6.5 minutes left in the fourth quarter for Jameis Winston to throw a pass. Jameis Winston went about an entire 15-minute quarter, without attempting a pass. He finished with only 23 pass attempts in this game. And while Jameis, when he throws the ball, he looks great. The only problem is Sean Payton. Does Sean Payton not trust Jameis Winston? Because you better believe that in this situation, he would put the ball in Drew Brees' hands plenty of times. But he didn't do the same for Jameis Winston. And I think Jameis Winston is a better... He's a better passer than Drew Brees. Better quarterback? No. Better passer? Yes. Jameis Winston could extend the field. He can throw for 50 yards down the field. Drew Brees, that just wasn't his game, and that's not necessarily a knock on him. That just wasn't his game. He was very efficient with the ball. He was very safe with the ball. He made the plays that need to be made, and he was very methodical with his decision-making. Jameis Winston could huck the ball over the mountains, okay? And you have to use him. Playing against a poor Giants team, you have to use Jameis Winston. You can't go a quarter without passing the damn ball. You can't. I think that should go without saying. But here we are. And, of course, the last loser, definitely not winners here. The last loser of the Week 4 of the NFL season is the Atlanta Falcons. Because let me know if you heard this one before. The Falcons blow a lead late in the game. They were, with 7 minutes left to go in the fourth, they had an 88% chance of winning this game against Washington. They give up 2 touchdowns in about 3.5 minutes and they lose the game. Do I want to blame Atlanta entirely for that? No, I do not, because Taylor Heineke is an absolute beast. He's a champ. He's a freaking force is what he is. So Taylor Heineke, greatest quarterback in the league right now, of course. But Jameis Winston, but Matt Ryan looked bad, and Taylor Heineke leads it, and the Falcons defense sucks. So, hey Falcons, I feel so bad for their fans, man. Poverty franchise, and that's all there is to it. But those are my winners and losers of week 4. Would love to hear your guys' biggest winner and biggest loser. Of course, some of the best ways to do that, leave a comment here on YouTube, or hit us up on our socials, Twitter at 4th Long Radio, Instagram at 4th Long Radio, or best of all, you can leave a 5-star review over on Apple Podcasts with your biggest winner and loser from this week. And we're going to move in next. Let's overreact, because some of the best parts about the week is overreacting to anything that we can see. It was really fun in the preseason, even more fun now in the regular season. So, three for those that don't know, I give you 3 statements. We're going to talk if, hey, this is probably an overreaction, or are we actually onto something? The first statement of this week, and the first thing we're going to talk about is Sam Darnold. He is the best rushing quarterback in the NFL and quite possibly in Panthers history. Yes, I know that, Cam Newton. That's part of it. This is fun. So let's take a look. Sam Darnold, of course, he has 5 rushing touchdowns on the season. He is leading the league in that category, and which is just insane. I wasn't expecting Sam Darnold to be one of the most mobile quarterbacks. What's up with, like, at least New York or former New York teams? I mean, Daniel Jones, surprisingly mobile. These guys really just catch you off guard. But right now, he's on pace for 21 and technically 21.25 rushing touchdowns this season. Cam Newton's career best was his rookie year in 2011 when he rushed for 14. Of course, 16-game season, now 17. But even counting for just 16-game season, Sam Darnold is on pace for 20. He's on pace to beat Cam Newton's record, or a team quarterback rushing single season. Okay, wait, how do I want to phrase this? Cam Newton's team single season quarterback rushing touchdown record. Yes, that's it. A little bit of a mouthful there. He's on pace to beat that by 6. Sam Darnold, he's the best, man. He's the best. Obviously, this is an overreaction. Cam Newton is a better rusher. I really want to make a bet with myself, but I'm already losing ones. I already have to do like the one chip challenge because I lost a bet with Jalen, of course, another co-host here on the show. So that's going to be quite interesting. I'm not in the mood for making more bets right now. I'm just not. But I would be willing to bet that Sam Darnold isn't able to keep up this pace. And also, he's just not the best rushing quarterback in the league. That has to go to Kyler Murray because Kyler Murray gets yards and he gets touchdowns. Nah, I guess not as many as Sam Darnold, but he does have more through the air. So he has that going for him. Next one is that the Los Angeles Rams are the most overrated team in the league right now. And this is, to me, I guess it can carry some weight because they look like a fantastic team. And they still look like a really solid team. But they lose to the Cardinals by 17 at home. Obviously not a great look for any team, let alone one that's supposed to be Super Bowl contenders or possibly the Super Bowl favorite out of the NFC. But I still don't think that they're overrated. They're still not talked about as much as the Bucs are. I've seen too many power rankings this week. Of course, we'll get to mine, and they're pretty damn accurate, and they're the best ones easily the best ones I've seen all week so far. But there's too many people they saw the Bucs over the Rams. When the Rams messed them up, they still had the Bucs over the Bills. They had the Bucs over the Cardinals. And I've seen some. No, the Rams aren't the most overrated team in the league. It's still the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, a team that's pass rush is failing them, a team that has no secondary depth, and their secondary isn't even that great right now. A team with a decent run game, but not great. The only thing going for them is a quarterback that will hopefully be out of the league this year. I mean, probably not going to happen, but I mean, we could all cross our fingers on that one. And Tristan Wirfs and Tom Brady are probably the best parts about that team. Now, that's obviously, it's not necessarily not because Tristan Wirfs is arguably, he was the best rookie tackle last year. He's one of the best tackles in the league already. And Tom Brady is one of the greatest quarterbacks, if not the greatest quarterback of all time. But the Bucs are still the most overrated team in the league. And everything that I said about them after week one, or it might have been week 1 or week 2 It's still prevalent. Of course, I think it was week 2. That it's still prevalent. I said that 2 weeks ago. I fully explained why the Bucs are still the most overrated team in the league. That segment alone is over on YouTube. You can go check that one out. Pretty much, even though it's a couple weeks old now, still everything I said in there is pretty damn accurate. So go ahead, check that out if you haven't already. And the last one I'm going to give you is that the Buffalo Bills are miles above anyone else here. And at least if you're looking at point margin, yes, they are. They have the best point margin in the league. They've looked amazing. They have 2 shutouts on the season. The Bills are looking like a damn good team. Of course, they beat the Houston Texans this week 40-0. Of course, it is still the Houston Texans. So, I mean, take that with a grain of salt. But Josh Allen looked great. You even had Mitch Trubisky scoring a touchdown in this one. So that's great. Obviously, Mitch wasn't the problem, and we all know that. But I wouldn't say that they're miles. I don't even think the Bills are the best team in the league right now. So I will say that this is a overreaction. Of course, we still have a lot to see. And I want to kind of talk a little bit more about this compared to the other team I'm going to bring up here. The team that is at least very close to them, if not likely better. And so with that being said, we're going to roll into our storylines. But before we do so, of course, if you're enjoying this show, really do appreciate you taking time every day to come and listen. I genuinely appreciate each and every one of you that tunes in. Each person, it means a lot to me. And so whether you're following us on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts, if you're subscribed to us on YouTube, thank you. Honestly, it's the best. Of course, if you're not done so yet, go on. Here's your chance now. Go ahead and follow us on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts, anywhere you're listening right now, or go ahead and hit that subscribe button on YouTube. And it's going to be great because we're going to be doing this stuff all year long, and you're going to want to be a part of it. Of course, you can find all of our stuff over at thefourthandlong.com/NFL for all you NFL fans. But a couple storylines here, and of course, the first one that I want to talk about is one leading from our last segment here with our overreactions. And which is, of course, the Bills are miles ahead and miles better than everyone else. And the question I need to ask here is that the one that needs to be answered is that, are the Arizona Cardinals Super Bowl contenders, or are they even Super Bowl favorites at this point? And who was expecting to hear that at the beginning of the season? 4 weeks into the NFL, the Cardinals would be Super Bowl contenders. Honestly, I'll tell you right now, albeit I'm a little surprised they're already this good. But if you remember, going back to our season preview show, who was the one that said that the Cardinals were going to be the biggest surprise team of the year? I'll point to myself. Thank you very much. And so far, the other one, then the biggest disappointment team not working out so far. I mean, the Green Bay Packers, of course. They still can do that. I guess we'll see. But the Arizona Cardinals are absolutely, at least at this point, they're 100% contenders, 100% Super Bowl contenders. I'm not sure if they're the favorite yet, but they are really on their way right now. Of course, they're the last NBA team, knocked off the previous, at least in my opinion, the best team in the league right now. And I kind of want to compare them to the Bills. That's why I put these two kind of the questions close to each other. I want to compare them to the Bills because the Bills, as of right now, are the other team that can compete ultimately with the Cardinals. Right now, it looks like the Bills are the best team in the AFC, and the Cardinals are the best team in the NFC. So we're going to compare the two. And, of course, I think might be a little bit of a spoiler, but the Bills are definitely a top 2 team here in the league. Might be a spoiler for the power rankings, but, of course, you'll have to stick around to see the full ones there. So I like the Cardinals' defense more than I like the Bills' defense. I have more trust in them. They should be the better, at least on paper. I don't trust Cliff Kingsbury. Cliff Kingsbury, although he's a great head coach, and his college offense is looking like it's working amazingly right now at the NFL. The only problem is I don't have enough tape on him. I don't have enough film on Cliff Kingsbury. He's not a legitimate name, I would say. He's not like a legitimate guy in the league right now. He saw some stuff to prove, I think, especially with their little bit of a collapse last year, choking and missing the playoffs because they lost to the Bears, and giving the Bears one of the most undeserved playoff visits that I've seen in a long time here. But I haven't seen it's simple as that. I just haven't seen enough of the Cardinals. I haven't seen enough of Cliff Kingsbury. I haven't seen long-term success from this team. So right now, I am very hot on them. I love the Cardinals right now. But I feel like I have a little bit more, at least defensively, I have a little bit more faith in the Cardinals. Offensively, it's so hard to choose between the Bills and the Cardinals. It's really hard. The Cardinals, I think the Bills have a better run game. They have at least the better passer of a quarterback. I think they're just a better quarterback in general, but that's not really saying much because Kyler Murray is right up there right now. The Bills have a really solid receiving core. Stephon Diggs, Cole Beasley, really underrated. Emmanuel Sanders there. But the Cardinals the Cardinals have the best receiving core in the league right now. Between Hopkins, between AJ Green seeing career reemergence, and seeing Christian Kirk looks great right now, and Chase Edmonds is having a really solid year too, and that defense is able to back them up. It's really, really hard for me to choose between these teams. If I had to give you one right now, the Cardinals are the better team at this point in the season. The Cardinals are a better team than the Bills. It's really close for me. But are the Cardinals Super Bowl contenders? Yes. Are they Super Bowl favorites? Right now, no. Cardinals aren't Super Bowl favorites yet. But, obviously, they easily can be, especially after week 5, week 6. Well, I just need to see consistency from this team. If I see consistency, I'm going to bet the house on the Cardinals. It's simple as that. And the next thing I want to talk about here, next thing I want to talk about is something that was a little bit confusing to me, and something that I could have, a little bit more opinion on, being a Broncos fan and watching the full game and being able to understand the whole situation behind it. And maybe I'm a little bit more old school in my ways, at least when it comes to football. But let's talk about this, because talking about old school, let's talk about the Broncos head coach Vic Fangio. Of course, I'm sure you've all seen the video, and also his press conference there on Monday after the game. But Vic Fangio was extremely livid about the Ravens running the ball late in the game instead of taking a knee, and they run the ball in order to keep to tie the NFL record. I think tie the Steelers for the most consecutive 100-yard rushing games. They did this they need like 3. Lamar Jackson runs for 5. And Vic Fangio was absolutely losing on the sideline there, along with some of the other players as well. And don't get me wrong, I completely understand why Vic Fangio and the Broncos, and some of the Broncos players would be mad about this. I can see it as a little bit disrespectful, but I think that the whole situation, it's a little overblown. It's not that big of a deal. If you don't want them, first off, I kind of think unwritten rules are pretty stupid. Like in baseball, no bat flips, no pimping your celebration when you hit the fat dinger. Pitchers throwing at guys because they do that. And I had the same solution in the NFL as I do in the MLB. Pitchers throw at guys because they stare at the home run too long, they throw the bat too high, they have too much swag after they hit a home run. So pitchers get mad, they hit the batter. You want to know how you can avoid a hitter pimping the hell out of that, and deservedly so? Don't let them hit the home run. It's simple as that. You want to know how they don't celebrate the home run? Don't let them hit the home run. It's really simple, at least in theory. If you are mad about the Ravens just running this game, running this slate, stop them. It's as simple as that. If you don't want them running on you, you stop them. Oh, I know, huge, just mind-boggling strategies here and takes here. I know it's a really hot take. And no, it's it's really easy, man. It's really easy. It's not that complicated. It really isn't. You don't like it, stop it. It's as simple as that. Don't like it, stop it. The Broncos should, if you don't like them running late, then what you should have stopped them earlier in the game so they weren't even just 3 yards away from that record. Okay? Or what about, trying to throw for touchdowns when you're down 16 with like 2 minutes to go in the game? Vic Fangio talked about player safety, which of course is at that point is a little bit more understandable because Teddy Bridgewater took a shot that should have been flagged. It was helmet-to-helmet contact. Not saying I agree with that rule, but given the NFL's plays and the officiating and the rules, that should have been a flag. Knocked Teddy Bridgewater out of the game with a concussion. And then talk about other guys taking unnecessary shots there. A lot of people want to say that the Broncos are taking cheap shots on Lamar Jackson. They weren't really, and some of the best evidence I saw about a cheap shot was when a defender completely whiffed on the hit on Lamar Jackson and went right over him. You can go look. You can go look for that. Find that yourself. But this is a bad take, especially if you're Vic Fangio. There's a lot more you have to be worried about from this game. There's a lot more you have to be concerned by. There's a lot more you have to be angered by. Maybe going away from the run game, pounding the ball on the left side, of the line when the Ravens right side of the defense has given the most rushing yards. Run right. They completely go away from the run game in the second half for no reason. Their special teams sucks. I think they're like 31st and 32nd in terms of kicking and punt coverage. And they probably have the worst special teams in the league right now. It's not good. Be mad about that. Be mad about the play calling. Don't be mad about the Ravens running for 5 yards at the end of the game. Don't. And you shouldn't even. I get it. I get a little bit more if you're just complaining about that Sunday after the game. I get that. It's fresh. But if you go Monday into practice, you're looking ahead to the next week, the next football game. You got to beat the Pittsburgh Steelers, trying to go 4-1. You're still talking about this. No one cares. It's a non-issue. Move away from it. Worry about the team. Worry about the things that actually need to be worried about. And go win a football game. Focus on winning a football game. Complain about this isn't going to let you beat the Ravens. It's not going to change a damn thing. Focus on beating the Steelers. Focus on things that actually matter. Unwritten rules are dumb. And that's that. That's that. I just want to talk about that. Talked about, of course, on Twitter. Of course, you can follow us at Fourth Long Radio. Gave my take there. A lot of people agreed, it makes a lot of sense. It's a good take. What can I say? But I just don't get it. I don't get it. If you feel like I'm a little off on this, please let me know. I would love to hear your side in your argument, your opinion on this one. Let us know in the comments on socials or leave a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. But I don't get it, man. I just don't. But let's roll on in. Last a few segments of the show here. Of course, going to give you my Week 5 predictions, including my Week 5 power rankings, and of course, none other than the Nene of the week. And let's roll into this. I know it's going to be an interesting week. I already know it. It's going to be something else. I'm looking forward to it. First off, just want to out myself as getting the fattest cold take and the biggest L of week 4, because in my lock of the week, I said it was going to be the Saints versus the Giants. I said it was going to be the Titans over the Jets. I'll take full responsibility right now. I jinxed those two teams. I'll take responsibility for the losses. That's definitely up there. I think at least top 3 of the hottest of the coldest takes I've ever given. I saw that. It's stuff like that where you can't just you just have to laugh at that. Just how it turned out, but so be it. But let's get into this week, and let's have a better week as well, because my picks weren't that great. I was way better in week 3 than I was in week 4. Let's see if we can get back on track here. Rams, Seahawks in Seattle. I'm going Rams in this one. We got the Jets, Falcons. This is honestly a really tough one for me. Let's ride the hot hand here. Let's go New York Jets. The Patriots and Texans. The Patriots are a better team than the Texans. They should win this game. Lions and Vikings. I think the Vikings are like what? I think there's a stat at least in the Green Bay Packers are 3-1, and they have a point differential of -2 on the season. The Vikings are 1-3 and have a point differential of, I think it was +2 on the season. Ooh, that's tough. The Vikings are a better team than the record shows. They beat the Lions in this one. Panthers, Eagles. I gotta take the Panthers in this one, man. Saints, Washington. Here's another one. I'll take the Saints as long as Sean Payne doesn't suck at play calling again. Titans, Jags. Ooh, anyone. I'm not touching anything related to Urban Meyer with a 10-foot stick. The joke's right there. I'm not gonna. I'm not gonna make it. But the Titans, Jags. I'll take the Titans in this one. Good bounce back game. They'll probably get AJ Brown and Julio Jones back, so they got that going. Dolphins, Bucks. I'll take the Bucks in this one, but man, I wouldn't be surprised if Dolphins take this, but their performance against the Colts was very, very questionable. Packers, Bengals. It should be the Packers. I expect a really good game out of this one, though. Broncos, Steelers. The Broncos need to win this game. And lucky for us NFL fans, we get to see the greatest. We might be able to get to see the greatest quarterback matchup of the year: Drew Lock versus Mason Rudolph. Now, who isn't clamoring for that one? I know we're all absolutely here for it, and it's just going to be nothing but amazing. I don't want to watch that. Next one, Bears and Raiders. I'll take the Raiders in the bounce back game here. Browns, Chargers. Now, this is my pick for game of the week. It's going to be two fantastic defenses going against two very solid offenses. Defenses are very comparable. I'll take the Chargers because they have the marginally better offense here. But man, this is going to be a damn good game. This was a really hard one to pick here as well. Giants, Cowboys. I'm taking the Cowboys all day here. Niners, Cardinals. Cardinals probably should win this one by a couple scores, but might be a little close here. We'll see. Divisional games can always end up better than it is. The Sunday night game, the Bills at Kansas City. This is going to be a damn good game. I'll take the Bills right now. I'll take the Bills because the Chiefs have no defense, and the Bills have a defense. I think the Bills might be able to push the Chiefs a little bit here, especially at home. Might be a bold take. I'll take the Bills and Josh Allen in this one. Of course, the Monday night game, Colts and Ravens. The Colts I just don't know, man. I have a little more faith in the Ravens, and I definitely have more faith in the Ravens than I do the Colts right now. I will take the home team in that one. Now, power rankings. Of course, we go from 5 to 1 here. And we got a new team making their way onto the power rankings. And at least they make an appearance last week. They get back into it. And that is the Los Angeles Chargers. They beat the previously undefeated Raiders. And they do it in pretty dominant fashion as well. They're only on here. I mean, they're still the most overrated team in the league. I saw the Bucs on here because it's hard to kind of choose against them right now. Or in a lot of their matchups, they still are the best team in their division, one of the best teams in their conference. But they're dangerously close to dropping out here. They drop down a spot, even with a win, just purely because of who is in front of them now. Number 3 is going to be the Los Angeles Rams. They were at number 1 last week. They lose to the Cardinals. They dropped to number 3 right now, and the team that's looking fantastic coming off a 40-0 win. And if you take away their week 1 game against the Steelers where they kind of crapped the bed, if you just look at the past 3 weeks, they arguably are the best team in football. They're definitely these top 2 here, and that's why they're at number 2. The Buffalo Bills, and then, I mean, who else? The last undefeated team in the league, the one that has one of the best offenses and defenses at the same time, the one with the MVP leader right now, it has to be the Cardinals. It has to be Kyler Murray. And, I mean, they're just looking fan-freaking-tastic right now. But the Cardinals-Bills are 2 very, very good teams. And if we end up getting the Cardinals-Bills Super Bowl, there won't be a damn soul complaining about that matchup, especially from, it has to be better than the Super Bowl we got last year. That's for sure. And of course, 5 to 1, recapping Chargers, Bucks, Rams, Bills, and the Cardinals. And with their first loss on the season, the Las Vegas Raiders drop out of the top 5. And now we're here, got through a lot of stuff this week. Of course, I got a couple. I feel like I've been getting some good rants, at least one good rant a week here through 4 now. A little Vic Fangio action there, a little Mac Jones action there. There's some good stuff. Sean Payne, get it together. The Raiders, hopefully for your fans and hopefully for Blake, of course, my co-host for our MMA shows. Hopefully they're not too bad because he'll lose his mind. Sam Darnold's amazing for some reason. Cardinals are Super Bowl contenders and arguably Super Bowl favorites at this point in time. But we're going to cap things off, ladies and gentlemen, with, of course, the best way to cap off any show, and that is the Nene of the Week. And the winner of this week's Nene of the Week award is going to be John Gruden for his confusion on weather delays in a dome stadium. Now, it's not necessarily like on him because I was a little confused by this too. I saw, at least on Twitter, a lot of people were very confused on why we're getting a weather delay in a stadium with the roof, which is kind of the reason that you put a roof on it so you don't have to deal with the weather. You don't have to worry about that. You don't have to worry about delays. But, hey, man, here we are. But John Gruden's face when the ref was explaining to him that we're in a weather delay, he looked up and was like, we're in a dome, aren't we? I loved it. And, of course, a little confused there. Confused a lot of us. And partially, I'll partly give a minor Name of the Week award to me picking the Saints and the Titans as a lock of the week last week. Not a good look, Ross. We'll get better. We'll get better with my locks, AFC and NFC locks of the week for week 5. But ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for sticking here until the end. Really, like I was saying during the show, I really do appreciate each and every one of you, especially those who are able to stick it to the end here. You guys are just some of the best people on planet Earth. And speaking of some of the best people on planet Earth, let's, of course, shout out our patrons, because huge shout out to our top supporter, Ray Rodriguez, for all your card collecting needs. Go on over to Instagram and follow at the Big Back Box. Shout out to Ryan Watson and Neil Wiley. Of course, you become a patron for just $1 a month. You get some goodies, multiple tiers here. The more you donate, the better goodies you get, and the better discounts and the better content you get as well. Of course, that's just $1 a month. You can find us over at patreon.com/4th-and-long. Ladies and gentlemen, this was a hell of a week. This was a hell of a time. A lot of really good stuff going on, and I can't wait to see all of you after week 5. Have a good one, ladies and gentlemen. And have some snacks, have some drinks. More importantly, just have a good time.